Hey everyone, welcome to my video lesson on how to set up your Thinkorswim platform from scratch. I'm going to be using a simulated paper trading account because that is just at its default, whereas my live trading account has everything set up. I don't want to get in and mess all of that up. So when you first open up your account and download Thinkorswim from the TD Ameritrade, you're going to come to this screen, which is a market summary. Basically, you can spend some time seeing what's happening in the market there. It has futures and trends and things like that. I'm going to click on this X up here, and it's going to take us to our home page. This is the Thinkorswim platform. Now, let's start off over here up on the left side, some options you have. This will show your account balances here, your buying power if you're on a margin account. Here, if you want, you can make this private to hide that. I don't do that usually, but you have that option. Now here on the left side, we have a couple different awesome tools which are really crucial. You can expand and collapse this with that button right there, and occasionally I'll do that if I need more room on my screen. The first widget that here I keep, it's the live news widget. You can type in any stock here and look what recent news they have. This is Amazon, for example. You can also look up a penny stock, have recent news here. So that is a great tool. Down here below we have, it's the default, we'll bring up the quick quote. I personally don't use the quick quote, so I'm going to switch that gadget. You switch these out by pressing this button right here and going to switch gadget. A lot of awesome options here. If you get bored throughout the day, you can even play Tetris. They have games there, which is kind of funny. Guess it's good for slow market days. Calculator and things. But what I typically use these for is I keep most of these to be a watch list. Sometimes I'll set this bottom one up just if I'm curious and seeing different things. You have a lot of options, so keep that in mind. You should do some exploring there and see what you like. For the watch list, to create a new watch list, it's pretty easy. You're going to go down here to create watch list. Today's August 27th, so I will go ahead and put in August 28th. This will be my watch list for tomorrow's stocks. I'll put in MSDI because I'm currently swinging it from 99 cents, close after hours at about the 108 area. You can see things are a little cramped in here. The default will show this strength meter here. I personally don't like the strength meter, so you can click on this settings button right here, customize, take off the strength meter. Just my personal preference. I also, instead of net change, I prefer to have percent change. So I'm going to take off net change. I'm going to add percent change. I'm going to move that up so it'll show me the last price, percent change, the bid ask, and the volume. I usually use those settings as you see here. Sometimes you need to space some things out a little bit so everything's got a little room to breathe. So we'll give our percent change a little bit of room there. There we go. Now everything's got room. You can sort. I'll just type in another couple stocks here to sort things through. I personally like to keep my stocks sorted with volume, so that the highest volume stocks are at top because those are the ones that usually have the most action. I use my second watch list. I'll connect it to a scan. Here you can click on Create Scan Query, and you can create these scans. I'm going to be doing future videos on scans I use to find stocks, but I usually have this watch list connected to that scan. My third watch list, I usually will just keep all of these stocks from basically the past 30 days that I've traded. So there's usually a couple hundred stocks on this watch list, but I'll have them sorted by volume. So in case anything is running again and spiking again, I can use that. Now, one amazing tool here I really love is this button right here. It's the linking tool. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on the red color, and what that means is I'm going to link it with anything else that I put on this red color, whether it's another side widget, whether it's the main chart. So you'll see here, when I click on ARWR, watch what happens up to my live news. Watch this. I click on ARWR, it automatically switches to live news there. If I click on off, it automatically switches to the live news there. And you can do that with the main chart as well. It's fantastic. So if I click on a stock, it'll automatically switch because all of those are linked, as you see right there. So that's a fantastic tool. Now, let's hop on over to our chart here. This is the default setup for the chart. It's kind of messy. I don't love it. I definitely like to make some changes. To make some changes to the chart, we're going to click on this settings tool. The first change I like to make is by clicking here on appearance. For some reason, it bugs me that they fill in the red and don't fill in the green. So I'm going to check fill up green candles as well, just personal preference. I'm going to click OK. Looks a little nicer to me. We're going to go right back into our settings. You have some options. As you see down here, we have the volume chart, which is separate than the price chart. You can mix that up here by checking this box. It says overlap volume right there. I'm going to click apply. You can see it combines the two. I kind of go back and forth between this just depending on the situation. The advantage to not having overlap volume is that you get more specific numbers over here for volume. But for now, we're going to use the overlap volume, as I most typically will do that. Another interesting thing that I change here is the quick time frames. This is the time frames that you can view the chart. And the way you do that is by this button right here. So if we want to look at the 1 day, 1 minute chart for MSDI, you click on that. Each one of these candles represents 1 minute over the course of 1 day. You can then go 5 day, 5 minutes. Now each candle represents 5 minutes. So if you want to change those, you can click here, customize list, or you can go into settings, quick time frames. As you see right here, the 5 day, 15 minutes, I never actually use that, so I'm going to delete that just to clean things up a little bit. The 10 day, 30 minutes, I prefer that to be the 10 day, 10 minute, just personal preference. You can go through, pick and choose what you'd like there. So now I have that up there. I also will usually add a month instead of 20 day, but you can go around and poke around on there. Another thing is you can toggle on and off the after hours charting. Do you see this gray area? That is all after hours. And if you don't want after hours, you can check this box right here. Click apply. Now it'll only show you, it takes out all after hours trading. It'll only show you from market open to market close. I personally like to see after hours trading, as I will swing stocks and sometimes even sell in after hours or buy in after hours. So to me, I always keep that there. And it looks uneven. Well, that's because, see, on this day, there's none. That means there was not one pre-market or after hours trade made on this stock for this day. Here we had a little bit. Obviously, we had a crazy day on Friday. I got in this at 99 cents. Went all the way up to 113. There was a lot of action after the merger news here, so that's why this gray area is a lot bigger right there. Now I want to show you some of the drawing tools here. There's two ways to get to the drawing tools. The first one is down here. You can select these, or you can go up here, drawing tools, and select these. One of my favorite drawing tools to use is this, which is the price level. It allows me to point out levels of resistance very easily, so you can do it like that. Another great tool is the trend line tool. For example, we'll draw the trend line on this after hours action. Helps you illustrate things. What's nice also is that will stay even if you switch between different time frames. It will stay if you like it. Then to clear it, you just go to remove drawings. You can clear all of them, or just one or two, or whatever you want. So we'll remove all of those there. Now another great thing about these charts is you can do multi-window charts. If you want to look at both of these at the same time, you can do that. Now, remember when I talked about linking? These three are linked together: red, red, and red. So when I click on this, this will only affect the linked charts. It does not affect the second chart. But perhaps I want to link this chart to this watch list. I could do that by simply making them both a different color, like yellow, for example, by clicking there and there. Then whatever I clicked in here would translate to here, or whatever I type in here would translate to there. So there's multi-windows. The windows I personally prefer is this setup right here. Let's go ahead and type in another stock here so you guys can get a little bit of a feel for it. Now, it is unfortunate you do have to go in and change the chart settings for each one of these, as we did previously, so keep that in mind. This is typically how I will trade, though, watching these different stocks like this. Now let's get into, I'm going to go back to just the one chart so I can help demonstrate to you guys how I trade using Thinkorswim's fantastically wonderful active trader. So over here on the right side of the chart, you have all these options here. What I'm going to click on is this active trader right here, and it's going to bring up this tool. Our chart got a little bit skewed, so I'm going to zoom out just to make it where I want it. This is a little bit better here. Let's go back to MSDI. So How to use the active trader. Let's talk about this real quick. The active trader is a very quick and simple way to get in and out of trades. It's how I do all my trading, and I love it. So let's start talking about the top part here of the active trader. If I were to click here at buy market, I will be buying shares at whatever the market price is. Same for sell. Click on this little button here. It's going to expand it. We'll talk about this in a second. I want to change this first line though, because there's a couple buttons that I don't use and don't find useful. The first button that I don't find useful is the cancel ... button, because if I were to click on that, it's going to take an extra step for me to cancel whatever order I'm in. So I'm going to remove that item, and I'm going to add cancel all to it. Add cancel all, move it up to where I want it. Now it's in the right spot. Another button I don't like to use is the reverse button. The reverse button is kind of useless. It'll just take, if you've bought 500 shares, it will then get rid of your 500 shares, and then it will then short 500 shares, or at least try to. So don't like the reverse button. Flatten button is useful though, so I do like to keep the flatten button there. All right, so now that I'm situated up there, let's talk about this next box here. These are all my quantities of shares that I'm buying. So right now I have it set up in multiples of 200. Typically it won't be set up like this. If you want to change that, what you need to do is you need to go up here into setup at the top right, application settings, go into order defaults under these stocks, and you can change that. I have 200, 200. I think it starts off at 100 like this, but my mind just works better in twos, and to me it's a little bit easier to get into the situations I want. For example, if I wanted to buy 400 shares of something, no, there's not a quick and easy box, but I can get there with 2 clicks by clicking on 200 right there. That puts me where I want. I'm now buying 400 shares. Just like that. Super easy. Now let's talk about this template box here, which to me is just my favorite part, because I can set up my target with bracket template, and I'm going to explain what that means right here. When you first click on target with bracket, it's going to bring this up. Now what I do, I first change these values to the percent, because I trade different stocks. Some are $1, some are $20, and so I can't have this be just $1. I need it based off the percent. I'm going to change this top box up here to 10%, and this one here to 5%. Now what that means is that when I go to buy this stock here, do you see that bracket it has created? The top sell is 10% above my buy, and my stop loss is 5% below my buy. So if I wanted to buy this stock at 108 right now, 200 shares, I would click buy and watch what happens. Oh, yes. If you don't have this auto send box checked up here, it's going to bring a confirmation box. And when you're trading stocks and are trying to be quick, I personally don't love that. So I always check this auto send box. But you have to be aware, since you have auto send check, if you accidentally were to click right here, that's a buy order that just went through and you're in a stock. So you have to be very careful with that. So we're going to go back to my target with bracket. Oh, I forgot to save it. I got to show you guys how to save this so you don't have to go in and create this every time. Let's go back and put it at 10%. And 5%. Those are just base numbers that I like to use. And we're going to save this. I usually label this percentages because I will create multiple templates for different fields and things. So this is my percentages template, and it is now saved in there right here. So I can quickly access it. I don't have to go here and recreate it. I can just click percentage and it's accessed. So again, let's try to say I'm buying right there at 108. Here it is. Now I can move this by just changing my buy. It will change the whole bracket order. You see, this is called a bracket, and what it means, as soon as my buy is filled, these red cells then become active. All right. Now, what I often do, I have my base at 10% above and 5% below, but I will often drag and change these. I don't always sell for 10%. As you guys know, I love to take profits early, so I will often take this and drag it down. So let's say that I got filled here at 110, and this buy order has been filled. My cells now become active, and I can drag them and move them wherever I want, or I can drag them before I even get filled. So let's say I get in at 110 and the stock goes up to 115, and I think, you know what, I feel good, it looks weak, I don't think it's got more, I'm going to sell. I would drag that down to 115 if I was trying to get out 115. Another thing I could do is I could click flatten. That would also get me out of the position. If I wanted to change my stop loss, maybe give it a little more room to run, I could lower it. Or if I thought, you know what, I want a tighter stop loss, I could raise it as well. One other thing I like to change right here is this panel. And what this, where it says position flat, this will show you if you own 500 shares, 1,000 shares, that's what it will show you. This right here will show you the whole day. So if I've traded one stock multiple times, say I've bought 1,000 shares 3 separate times, then it's going to add up and show me 3,000 shares I've bought. And it's just, it can get a little confusing, so I don't love that. So I usually remove that item there. I'm going to get rid of it, press OK. Here will show you your average price that you're in the stock at, and this will show you your open, how much money you've made or have lost from the trade once you've gotten filled. This will show you profit loss day for the whole day. Now, one other thing that I like to add here is press this small settings button, customize, and what I like to add is my profit loss open to my active traders. It's a fun, great little tool. And obviously I'm not in a position now, but what it would do if I were to get filled at 110 right here, this far right side would then open up. Everything above my buy would be green, showing how much money I would be making. If I were to sell at 124 from a 110 entry, it would show right here how much I would make. Or if I sold at 97 cents from 110 entry, over here it would show how much money I would lose on that trade. So that is how I like to set up my Thinkorswim platform. It's a great platform that I really like, but there are other platforms out there too. I'm not closed-minded. I understand that there are other platforms out there as well. Real quick before I end, I just want to remind you guys that my sell ends at midnight tonight. I've upgraded my website to have PayPal linked directly to it. And so if you were to click on this right here, it includes the 25% discount already. So if you were to click on this, it would take you to PayPal. You can buy debit or credit card for $75. This would be $675. This would be $1,200. After tonight, these obviously will be going back to regular full price. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm excited to trade with you guys tomorrow, and let's make some money.